during World War II, the Office of Naval Intelligence initiated an alliance with the New York Mafia under Lucky Luciano to not only protect U.S. ports from Nazi saboteurs, but also giving them information that helped the U.S. military with the invasion of Sicily, the invasion of Italy, and then the intelligence agencies reestablished the mob in Italy. Okay, so these guys had been working together for a long time. So one of the problems with the CIA when it was founded was Truman signed the order for it to be put into existence, but he didn't give them a budget. Okay, so one of the ways that they raised money is that the newly formed CIA went to their buddies in the mob and said, hey, can you produce heroin in Sicily? And then what we'll do is we'll refine it at a pharmaceutical company in Italy, and then we'll ship it to the United States where it'll go to Harlem into the jazz clubs, because who cares about those jazz musicians? So here I am saying, like, oh my God, this problem has been there from the very beginning. And time again, when I went into these deep dives and I found, like, okay, I understand what today's controversies are. Can I go back 70, 80 years and find people bringing up these very same problems? Absolutely. And I think that that's something that's good for people to understand, because when you look at the history, I mean, you know, it's there. You can find other books, other sources, and all I'm saying is this is the structure by which the CIA had been set up, the way it was being run, and just extrapolate into today. And so we're in the book, we're going back and forth between what happened in the past and what is currently happening.
So that's okay. So that's a pretty crazy revelation that basically the CIA learned the importance of drug running from China based upon what
Yeah,
was happening during the Civil War in China, right? Where you had the KMT and the
yeah.
communists. And so that's crazy though, that was how they funded the agency. And so fast forward to today, how much, and I know it's probably a very difficult question to answer, but how much money or how much of their funding or resources are tied into the global drug trade? Because, you know, you can imagine that. Why is it that oftentimes you say, oh, there's a corrupt police officer that was arrested, a corrupt politician, a corrupt judge, right? What I've found, that there's actually a book about called Political Ponerology, which is a book identifying evil and like the understanding that there are people that are evil and psychopathic, but actually those people tend towards positions where they can influence and gain power, such as, you know, CEOs of large companies, politicians, judges, police officers, etc. And so you oftentimes have people in those positions of power because they can, you know, like a corrupt cop, you know, they can hide the evidence, they can get away with so much more, let alone if you imagine an entire agency that is okay with the idea of, you know, killing people from drug overdoses and all the other things they're doing to fund this. I mean, it's insane to think about, but you can imagine if you're the CIA, you're above the law. So imagine if you could be, you know, a drug dealer above the law with an international system where you could, you know, you have control of airports and all kinds of things. So back to the question though, how large do you think, or do you estimate this drug running operation is today? And then the second part of the question is, what does it look like today?
Well, here's the question I always ask, because I'm like a scientist who's looking for the black hole. Okay, the thing that doesn't make sense. So scientists can't observe a black hole. They simply observe a place where light doesn't seem to be going. Okay, or that there's no light emanating from it. So I can go back into the past and I can look at this history of drug running. And so you draw a straight line from heroin in Harlem in the late 1940s. You can look at the allegations of the Golden Triangle in Vietnam. You can look at the 1980s and crack cocaine coming into the inner cities. And you say, like, okay, I'm seeing this pattern. Well, what's the black hole in the American media today? The black hole is, why is nobody seeming to aggressively go after the cartels that are bringing drugs, human people, and fentanyl into our country? I mean, what is it? 90 to 100,000 people a year are dying from fentanyl overdoses. So I can't tell you that the CIA is involved with the cartels in some way to influence governments south of our border. And in return, they're allowing fentanyl and human traffickers to come across the border. What I'm observing is to my mind, there's no other reasonable explanation other than some deal has been struck, because I don't hear people talking about 90 to 100,000 Americans a year dying from drug overdoses. So I'm very clear on what I can prove and what I can't prove. So I give you all the evidence of what's happened in the past. I walk you up to the precipice of what's happening today. And I'm asking the question, why is it a very rare politician who says something like, maybe we should send the military after the cartels? I mean, do we really not know where their operations are? We must.
Folks, we all see it. Everything's getting more expensive. We're paying 2, 3, 4 times what things cost just a few years ago. And we know they're lying. 3% inflation, really? Think about it. Why are they telling us to keep our hard-earned money in the banks and stock market while they're rushing to buy gold and silver? That's right. Governments and central banks around the world are dumping the dollar and scrambling to buy gold and silver right now. These are smart people. They see the signs just like you do. They know the crash is coming. The dollar has lost more than half its value in the last 5 years, and our national debt's increasing $1 trillion every 100 days. It can't go on like this. Even Bank of America's warning about a dollar collapse. And if they're right, it's only a matter of time before our savings, our IRAs, and our 401ks could be wiped out. Look, right now, it's still easy to buy gold and silver, but in the future, it may not be. Experts are saying that prices will keep surging, and UBS says that gold could even go up to $5,000 an ounce. Noble Gold's phones have been ringing off the hook because the folks who get it aren't wasting time. Now, I can't tell you what to do with your hard-earned money, but I can tell you that even if just some of your savings are in gold and silver, you can rest assured that money is safe. So call Noble Gold and protect your wealth today. It's better to be 6 months early than 1 day late. So call Noble Gold today at 626-654-1906 or visit goldwithseth.com and set up your free wealth consultation. The phone number and the websites are also in the show's description.